many of you in here are business owners? Oh my God. Wow. Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I want to start off with what is a business model. So Michelle just read you that. But give me some of your ideas of what a business model is. Anybody? A plan of action. Systems? Who said that? All right. Well, essentially, a business model is how your business makes money. And then it has several different components from your clients, your infrastructure, your marketplace, cash, capital, and like that, and all the moving parts that go with it. And most business owners have never taken the time to think through their business model and its limitations or its possibilities. And the reason that they haven't is because many times we look at different components of a business model in isolation. So we're looking at who is your target market. We might be looking at our costs. We might be looking at what resources or what our value proposition is, but we rarely look at the totality of it. So you guys will see up here an image that I'm going to use down here with Michelle. This is called the Business Model Canvas. If you want to see a presentation by the guy who actually created this, it's a wonderful book called The Business Model Generation. And his name is Osterwalder. This, on YouTube, if you type it in, you can find more about it. He goes through it. We also have a workshop coming up for those of you who haven't met my Katie yet. She's a distinction. She's extraordinary. She's out there at the table. And we have a business model workshop coming up. You know what? I just got present to that I have clients in the room, and I have former clients in the room, and I have friends in the room. And it's very good to be with you guys. Let me just say that. I launched right in.
Yeah, Jody.
To the presentation without saying hello, and I apologize for that. All right, so when we look at it all together, you see things that you can't see when you're looking at your business model in isolated segments, right? So we're going to look at it all together. And what I thought would be useful is if you could watch me take Michelle through it, then you can see the questions that I'm asking her, you can see the way that we do it, and then you can do it for yourselves, all right? Okay, good. So a couple of other things. Your expertise is actually your trap. Can you get that? Because you know how you got results, so you try to recreate that. But that's past-based, and innovation cannot happen in a past-based conversation. So you'll have to be willing to suspend what you know works. And the beauty of actually using the business model canvas is it allows you to play around with it to create different kinds of scenarios so that you become something more of a designer of business models. They say now that the new competency for CEOs and business owners isn't going to be product innovation or even service innovation. It's going to be business model innovation. And whatever your business model is right now, it's already outdated. Even if it's working today, it's already on its way out. So your capacity to be facile with looking at different ways of grappling with your business to find out how it can make money and from what angle you can leverage is going to be really important. I want to tell you a story, and then we're going to start off with Michelle. I've got a paper here if any of you guys want to go over to Miami Growth Advisors with an S.com. I created a consortium of business leaders in Miami to talk about the economic wave of opportunity that's coming into South Florida. There's some papers about that, but this one is specifically on business models. And you see how this little fishy just went like that? Yeah, that's what it's about. And so you can get more information about it. But one of the stories that I have in here is about a young lady named Anjali. She's from Bangladesh. And in Bangladesh, in the rural areas, the toilets are very far from where the people are living. And sanitation issues routinely take the lives of children in this part of the world. And because they're so far away from the area where the community is, it opens up women to theft and rape, and we take going to the bathroom for granted, that people would actually have to wait to go ahead and go to the bathroom. Like, we don't have that here in the US, so we can even barely relate to it. So when she was trying to address this issue in a business model, she knew that just creating a portable toilet wasn't going to be enough. She would have to change the relationship that people had to using the toilet. So what she came up with was a portable toilet that was affordable and was financed through microcredit. And the toilet itself actually turned waste into fertilizer, which they could then sell back to the company to pay for the toilet.
That's a model.
Yeah. It's called Toilet Plus, if you want to look it up. And what she did was she identified a need in her community. She had some social concerns that she wanted to address. And then she created this product. She found a good way of addressing the barrier to entry for most people, and that it was a win-win-win for everyone. And she's transformed that part of her world to improve the lives of those people and to give them dignity and safety around being able to use the restroom. But you can see how she thought about these different components. And there are some other stories in the paper, but I just wanted to share that one with you, because when you go and you deal with your business model and you're looking at it at the scope of what is the future that your business wants to emerge. Like, what is the future that's wanting to emerge in your community or in your industry? You know, I was just with my son. I just flew back in about noon, and he's telling me about single diesel engines versus those 3 propeller motors that go on the back of boats. They use 75 gallons. If you have 3 of them, they have 25 gallons an hour. And the single diesel engines use like 25 in 3 or 4 hours. It's so much more affordable. Like, that'll probably completely transform the marine industry once that takes hold. So you want to think about what is the issue that either wants to emerge from you, wants to emerge from your industry, or wants to emerge in your community. So we're going to go, Michelle, to you. And I went and got your strengths.
Oh, okay.
And I know your wealth dynamics profile. And why these are important is that when Michelle creates this business model, we want to make sure she's doing it in her natural flow to her strengths, right? Because that's where genius lives, that's where opportunity lives. And then she'll take the business model and tweak it, all right? All right, so just to remind you, in case you forgot, but for the sake of the audience, she is a star creator. That means that she's out promoting. You can see she's a star, that's a given. But she's also a creator, which means that she's got a gazillion ideas, some of which are good, some of which are not, some of which she goes, oh my God, I was thinking that? What was I thinking, right? So creators have lots and lots and lots and lots of ideas. So we also need to have some criteria for vetting these ideas, which is one of the reasons we thought we'd do this here with you. You could give her immediate feedback, right? Okay. Now, in her strengths, she's got 2 strengths in influencing, which are significance, which means she wants to be significant and make a significant difference, and communication. She's an excellent communicator. And she's got 3 strengths in strategic thinking. Intellection, which is a thinking strength, ideation, more ideas, and input, which is somebody who gathers and collects things and ideas and things like that. So we want to build this through those, because if you do that, then she can get the most results, right? And the side of Star Creator is magic, mystery, and magnify. So you might want to write this down. The margin is in the mystery. The minute there's no more mystery about what you do, there's no more margin. That's eroding margins in mature industries. right? So her whole thing is going to be, how did you do that? And then to magnify and make things bigger, okay?
Okay.
Okay,
All
good.
right.
So I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
And you're going to write on these stickies, and you're going to throw them up in the different segments, all right?
Okay.
You can pick any color you want. What color you want?
Blue.
Of course.
I'll take them all.
You'll take them all.
So I can change.
Okay, good.
Okay.
All right, great. All right, so we've got some stickies here. So here's the questions. In customer segments, for whom are you creating value? Who is your most important customer?
And this is all about what I want to do, not what I'm
Yep.
doing right now.
Yep. What
So
you
I
wanna
would
do.
say, based on the idea that I have that we're vetting right now, it would be females,
Okay.
who want to be speakers, authors, or coaches who want to make their own event like this.
Now let me ask you something. Would there be a different way you'd reach a speaker versus an author versus a coach? Would
Possibly.
the channels be different? Okay,
They
so then
could
write
be.
them down differently. Write
Okay,
them
so
down
be
and throw
separately?
'em up.
Okay.
Yep.
Ooh.
Okay. Now, I want you to pay attention to that she was very specific. It's who will you serve, but it's also who will you not serve. Right?
That's
Okay.
scary.
Yeah.
You know, because
It
it's
is.
like
It's
hard to
scary
say no
because she
to.
doesn't want to miss out on anything, right? But you have to be very clear about who's not your ideal client, right? All right. Now, what kind of relationship do you want to have with them? Is it going to be personal assistance? Is it going to be a community? Is it going to be co-creation? Is it going to be automated? How are you going to do this?
Well,
How
we
are you
know
gonna
that
serve them?
automating is not one of my strengths.
Absolutely
So I would
not.
say something where I can educate
So is it direct personal, like you to a group,
or
one-on-one?
I love one-on-one work. I just also know that that's not very scalable.
Okay.
So maybe there's some one-on-one, but it's at the highest level.
Okay, so you want to put both?
Okay.
Right, so high-end one-on-one, and then the leveraged group, yeah?
Okay. Is that here?
Yep.
Okay.
Under the relationships that you
group.
want to have. Okay. Is there any co-creation with them?
What does that mean?
That you're going to collaborate with them in designing what they're going to get?
Yeah. Well,
Put that in
ideally,
there.
where do I do that right
In
there?
In customer relationship, the kind of relationship you want to have.
A co-creating. So like, for example, this is my idea. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
this is a good idea. The idea would be for me to help them create their own version of this, whether it's much smaller or much bigger or different or
And it would
some.
definitely be co-creating.
Okay.
Now, there'll be components of it that are the same throughout, right? Maybe 80% of it is the same. And then there's a percentage where you're going to customize it with them, yeah?
Maybe. Like if it was a group thing, we could do it through like a mastermind. We could customize.
Okay, so you might want to put that up there, mastermind.
What's the difference between co-creating
Well,
and community?
You might have a community, like if you think about Facebook as a community, but it's not necessarily co-creating.
Although it kind of is.
It can be,
If you think.
but it wasn't initially designed for that, right? It was initially designed for community. Now, people may use it that way. Does that make sense? Okay? Okay, good. Now, Michelle, how are you going to reach them? This is the channels section.
This is the easy part, I think,
Okay,
weirdly
good.
enough, right? Because usually that's the challenge.
First
But
thing,
I was just at, so I went to the National Speakers Association conference in June. I was at Eli Davidson's conference a week ago, and I keep ending up at these conferences because it's what I'm interested in, surrounded by speakers, authors, and coaches. So if I just go to these conferences.
Go to conferences, there you go. That's a channel. Right, so you want to think about the 5 or 10 networks that your target market is already in. Where are you going to find them in the highest concentration? So at conferences, where else?
Online,
Online.
I would imagine.
You have a very strong online presence, so
Right.
definitely.
Okay, so online. Obviously, I think between the conferences and speaking more at those
So speaking.
conferences, speaking,
Okay,
not just hanging out.
okay. You also want to look in channels at how do they evaluate your value proposition.
Well, the reason I came up with this was at Eli's conference, all that anybody wanted to talk to me about was, oh, how did you do that? How do you get sponsorships? How do you do this? How do you do that? And I had so much advice to give. I was like surrounded by people who wanted to know more. I'm like, well, hell, this could be a business model.
Very good. So some of it is that you've established your credibility already in this arena. Right?
Okay.
So I would put this down under
value proposition. Okay, can I have another color?
Established. You could have anything you want. And big and green. Yes.
So what is this? Established credibility?
You have established credibility.
Well, and not just because of this event, because most of you probably know me through here, but the people who've known me for a lot longer know that back at Ocean Drive Magazine, I was responsible for developing several revenue streams through events as well.
Good. So I think you should put that down there too. You have established credibility, and then you have extensive experience.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a value proposition.
And teaching people how to monetize.
Competency.
Sorry. Teaching people, like the actual thing that I would teach, I guess, is that here? Teaching people not just how to, like, it's not about just creating the event, right? It's about monetizing it, how to make money. Like, what are the different revenue models that you could use to create? And then the people, for example, a hypnotist might want to create an event, but it might not look like this at all. Right. You know, it could be a smaller thing, or it could be very different. So it's really about identifying the right model for them, like the right event model for them.
Okay, so that's another value proposition, an event model that's customized to them. How are you going to sell this to them?
I don't know.
She's going to teach you.
Okay.
All right, so down here under revenue streams, we got some question marks, right? So you might want to take that and just put some question marks on the little sticky down here.
I need a different color.
We're not sure about this yet. Okay.
Right, because I don't know what I'm selling yet. Like, I know I can sell the idea. What do you think about the idea? Right,
well,
more or less?
You can't do it like that.
Okay, sorry.
If you think this is a good idea and that she can make money off it, raise your hand.
Oh, right.
Interesting.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, good.
What is my writing down?
You actually didn't know how you were going to create revenue from this yet. So we're not sure about this yet.
Okay.
But you just got validated and like massive feedback that they like this idea.
Okay.
And they think you could do it.
Okay.
I think you could do anything. But yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So, okay, so now you don't know how you're going to deliver it just yet. You were thinking about doing it through a mastermind. And in a group setting, is it a setting like this?
No, I'm thinking, as much as I love all this is a lot of stress. Putting this event together is massively stressful.
Okay, so hang on, because I want to teach you something about what she just said.
Uh-oh, I did something wrong.
No, she didn't do anything wrong.
She
never, ever do anything wrong. Never.
Okay.
No. See, her profile is magnify and mystery. And her question is what and who. So on the other side of the wealth dynamic profile, and I don't know how much you got to talk about this earlier, but the last one I spoke about this, for those of you who were at the last one. The other side that has Lord, mechanic, accumulator, and that side is simplify, systemize, and multiply. She's never going to be able to do that. So for this event not to be stressful, you've got to have somebody on that side of the wealth dynamic profile.
Right.
Okay?
And yeah, and I'm clear about that.
So we don't want you to do that.
Okay.
You get the idea,
okay,
and then you hand it to someone and go, hey, make this thing happen.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Right,
in which case, then I could do something, I guess, like this, but what I was thinking about was making it much smaller and having much higher price points.
Okay. What do you guys think about that? Raise your hand if you like it. Yeah, not as many, but they do like it.
I mean,
yeah,
right.
And when you go to a higher price point,
that's what
you're
happens.
not going to have it with everyone, right?
That's fine.
So I would put that down here.
Higher price point,
higher
smaller.
Price point, smaller group.
It excites me more because I feel like I get to do the one-on-one stuff, which I love.
I know.
And I get to have a more personal connection, and I get to see it getting actualized too. We'll be working together. A mastermind, the idea would be like 10 months.
If you've got the mastermind is this group that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you want to say here as a value proposition is this is one that you're going to deliver over time.
Okay.
So they can digest
Deliver
it
over
and
time.
model it and deliver it over time, right? So it's not a one-time thing. You're actually going to see it through from idea, concept, all the way through to
Right.
that it got manifested, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's a big value proposition.
Okay.
Because a lot of times people go to events and they learn something and they never look at that note again and they don't take any action on it. Now, that's still valuable because when you come to an event like this, even if you never see me again, have I made you think? Yes. It's very valuable, right?
Yeah.
And if you actually want to take action on it, you've got to go into a different sort of structure. Because most of us are not self-held accountable. Hi, how are you, Cindy? It's good to see you. Most of us are not self-held accountable, so it takes something for us to go in and do it on our own, yeah? Mm-hmm. Right? So I think that having a structure for accountability is a good value proposition. All right. What about how are you going to provide post-purchase customer support?
Ugh, where's that?
Post what?
Right? Well, actually, I think you do it really well.
Thank you.
In your blogs.
Oh, really? Okay, so the writing.
Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
I think her blogs are pretty awesome.
Okay, so blogging.
Yeah, that's a good post.
I should do it more. Okay, I know.
Yes, you should do it more. Because you have communication as a strength.
Okay.
So that's speaking,
Emailing,
writing, and listening.
That's my favorite stuff to do, actually.
Yeah. So you having a business model that allowed you to do more of that would be better, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, good. So that would go under key activities. Speaking, writing, listening. She doesn't like the word coach, but it's in the realm of that, or consulting, because you're listening and you're drawing something out from people.
Right.
Yeah? Right? Okay.
Should I put coaching?
It might kill you. We could put coaching.
Is this helping you guys?
Coaching/consulting.
Okay, good, because that's what I'm hoping for.
Right.
Putting myself out there.
Okay. All right. So what about, let's see, under value propositions, newness. It's a new idea. So that's
You know, it's
people
not.
like that.
It's not my. Oh, it's the first time I'll be doing it, but I'm not the only one.
Oh.
There's
okay.
competition out there.
Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's good.
Okay.
All right. So it's not a new idea then.
Mm-mm.
All right. Then performance or customization would be something.
Right. Customization.
I think that you've done it gives you a good bit of credibility.
Right.
For being able to do that with others. And it helps them get the job done. Like, it helps them to actually launch what they're committed to bringing to the world, right? I think that's
the idea,
value
is to get them
proposition.
vested in this idea and then be there to help them make it happen and stay in contact to
So
walk.
helping people get the job done for their own events. Now, would it reduce the risk of somebody who wanted to create an event? Massively. So it's a risk reduction.
Yeah.
Another value proposition. Okay. Can you guys think of anything else that would be a value proposition for her in this idea?
Well,
Yeah?
I do.
Okay, good.
I have a network of people that I can bring to the table. So, for example, I can
your
bring Marley
relationships.
Q in to talk
Yep,
about production. Okay.
Yes, very good. So your relationships and your own network.
And that's actually monetizable. That's part of the business model. I'll tell you why, because at Eli's event last week, I learned, didn't know this, that people would pay to come into an event like that and be able to speak.
So why don't
Like,
you
and
put
share
that down?
revenues or something like that. So it's a whole nother revenue stream that I
So-
hadn't thought about.
Put that in there.
Okay.
So people would actually pay you to come and speak to the group that you had
And then,
together?
but here's the thing, it's got to be taken carefully because you also want to make sure that they're delivering value as opposed to, you know what I mean?
have to vet them
I would
first.
have to vet them
Right,
and make
so
sure
let's
that
put
they're,
up here, under key activities that you vetted.
okay, vetting speakers and
Vetting
content
speakers and
providers.
Content providers, absolutely. Because that would be huge. Otherwise, you lose credibility, right?
Right.
All right, so under key activities, let's look at what are the key activities that your value propositions would provide,
What are the key activities that my value propositions?
require.
Oh, okay, so I'd have to, this is where I get tired, just thinking about it.
Give it up.
Okay, all right. I'd have to Sell,
Okay, selling.
right? I mean,
Yep, selling.
so I'd have to sell. I'd have to design the program, which I love. That's no
Okay,
problem.
design the program.
Design.
Yep.
I'd have to market, or, I'd have to have some sort of system to bring people from, hey, I met you, to this is a good prospect, to selling,
Process.
a
Creating
sales process.
Yep.
I'd need to have like some sort of mastermind structure, some sort of coaching structure, maybe
Yep.
group calls and things like that.
Yep. So you'd have to deliver,
Deliver.
right? You'd have to deliver your product, service. How about collecting the money?
Oh, yeah.
She always forgets that.
Not anymore.
Good. Okay. Collect the money,
Okay.
all right?
It's a lot of action items.
Yeah. Well, this is why you have to have that assistant. And now
Yeah.
she's got Stephanie, right?
Right.
So,
Where's
so you
Stephanie?
guys know that what we did with Stephanie was we took Stephanie through every single profile we could think of to make sure she was the right complement to Michelle. The same way I did with Katie, because we tend to hire ourselves.
Ding, ding, ding.
And then the thing that we don't do well, nobody does well. And then it doesn't get done.
Because we like ourselves, so we want to hire people
Well,
we
we're
like to hang out
attracted
with.
to people that we resonate with, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so although Katie is completely, totally, and utterly amazing, she's got different strengths than I do. So she complements me, and that's what Stephanie does with you. So
Right.
I think that you're going to find, now, Stephanie is a new team player with Michelle, and in not even 3 months. By 9 months, she'll be a much better asset, much more developed asset for you. So some of these things you won't have to worry about.
Okay.
All right, so let's look at key resources. Do you need physical resources, like a building
No.
or a venue?
No.
No, you
Oh,
don't
well, I
do-
was thinking, okay, so this is my idea. To have a very small mastermind to start, like 5-person, and rent a hotel suite and just hunker down in that hotel suite for a couple days with these people who could fly in from anywhere, or they could be local, fly in, do 2 days every 6, like to do 2 days to start, 2 days, so maybe January, June, and November, and then November, fly them, have them come to the Dominican Republic to my house down there and do a 3-day mastermind
Oh,
there
that would be
at my
brilliant,
house.
right? You guys like that idea? Raise your hand if you like that idea. Raise your hand if you like that idea.
All right.
Okay, good. All right.
So I would need,
So you can
know,
do it like that. So
yeah,
you need a
that's
venue.
one option.
You need a venue. All right. You need Stephanie. You need an assistant.
an assistant. Right.
Will you need any money to launch this?
Do I need it? Yeah, a little bit, I'd probably have to invest in some marketing materials, a website, things like that.
You have a resource of a website and marketing. That's another
Okay, so these are here.
activity and yeah, under resources.
So
So
website.
a really built out marketing plan. Like
Oh.
Our marketing plan is 197 pages.
Okay.
So that I can take that marketing plan and hand it to anybody, and they can do it. That's how detailed your marketing plan needs to be. Now, you guys, as you're looking at your business model, and you're taking the time to do the critical thinking, and I know you will because you're here, you have to find ways to leverage yourself. And writing a really good marketing plan allows you to leverage yourself and turn it over to someone else to deliver, okay? All right, so key partners. Who are the key partners that you
Key
need to have?
partners. I think I need a new color. Uh-oh. Oh, well. Key partners. Maybe some people that have events with speakers, authors, coaches.
Okay.
So people who can introduce me to that audience.
So other coaches or other consultants in that arena?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Other consultants targeting same target market.
Okay. So that's
with
a
a different
strategic
value
alliance,
proposition.
right? So strategic alliances.
Yeah.
Now what you're going to want to do is you're going to take this strategic alliance sticky, and you're going to write out 20 strategic
Oh,
alliances.
okay. Let me do
Not
that
right
again.
this second.
Okay.
Right? Because they already gave me the... But that's what you'll want to do. You want to flesh that out, right? What other key partners?
Any ideas?
This might be somebody who could help to reduce your risk,
Reduce my
right?
risk.
It could be a financial partner. It could be some other resource or activity that you need that you want to take off. I would think your network here and all of the attendees here are definitely key partners.
Existing network.
Yeah, your existing network. Now, what costs would be associated with this, Michelle?
What cost? Like monetary?
Yep.
You know, the venue, the
Okay,
materials.
put it down. Venue,
Okay.
materials,
Oh, yeah.
your time.
Thank you. That's true. Sometimes we forget that one, huh?
Our key partners,
Okay.
former clients, yep.
Former clients. Okay.
And you've developed some really powerful relationships, like, you know, with Mark Troberge and, you know, yeah, some very
Okay.
powerful. You know, Wendy Unger is here from the Miami Beach Chamber. And, you know, those are very powerful partners for you. right?
Absolutely.
I would
Agreed.
think. Yeah. I like to see you get into partnership with the Beacon Council.
Okay. I'll put the Beacon Council down.
Yep. Okay. All right. So what I've heard you say so far.
NSA, the National Speakers Association.
Another key partner. So you see how the ideas start to flow, right?
ICF.
There you go.
I'm going to
Yeah.
keep this. I need to take a picture of this thing.
You can have it.
Okay. Ooh,
right.
thank you.
Yeah, when we have the workshop that's coming up in December, so we have one of these for everybody who comes, so you can all have one. All right, so the other costs that are associated with it, I like this because you don't really have a lot of costs.
Well,
right?
the time is it might be a big one. And right now, my time is money, which is why that's one of the conversations that we're having here today, how to move away from a model where time is money. And it's getting better and better. So I've got things that are more leveraged and all that good stuff. But right now, the time that I spend working on this is time that I'm not spending.
In this conversation is if you go to part of this model and you also have it and it's something like this which makes it affordable for more people.
Right.
You can have the best of both worlds.
Okay.
You can have your magnify and your multiply.
Okay.
Right? So I would put both.
So because what I was thinking was replacing this summit in May, doing this summit again in November, so it becomes annual, and then replacing it with maybe a little bit smaller event in May that's focused on this new concept.
So why don't you ask them what they think?
What do you think?
All
Yeah?
right, hang on,
Oh, wait,
hang
sorry.
on. You didn't ask that properly. Okay. So what do you guys think about going from 2 events a year to 1 event a year? If you like that idea, raise your hand. 1 event
Half.
a year. They pretty much like that idea
Half.
for the most part, okay?
How many of you don't like that idea? All right, cool. So we'll
Yeah.
stick with it.
Okay, so then the other part of it was a smaller one that's more focused
On this new concept.
on your new concept that's specifically targeted to authors, speakers, and coaches. So you're still going to have 2 events a year, but unless you're an author, speaker, and a coach, you wouldn't come to the second one.
Right.
Very clear. Okay, so then put that down.
Where?
Right, I would make a revenue stream that's the summit, because you know they feed one another.
Okay.
And then your summit would also be a key resource. Put that down here.
Oh, yeah.
And then over here, you want to look at now, how can you do a pricing model?
That's where I get stuck.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it's worth. You know?
Yeah, so you might have to do a focus group.
Okay.
So I would put that under key activity.
Focus group.
Do a focus
That's the
group and
purple
start
one.
finding out what would people be willing to pay. All right, so right now, she's got a lot of this piece on this side over here covered. I'd like you to flesh this out a little bit more.
Okay.
So that you can articulate the benefits clearly for
Okay,
people, right?
right.
And then these channels, they may be sufficient, but they may not be.
Okay.
Ultimately, what we'd like to see, if you look and take online, I would break the online out to
Oh,
like
yeah.
7 or 8 online,
For
right?
sure.
So that it gets really clear. And then over here, if this is the only segment that you want to work with that, then you can take this model and put it next to your existing business model, and you start to design what does the next 3 years look like.
Well, it makes a lot of sense because then the summit becomes like a feeder into this program for the ones that really need the extra, and I get to impact. What I love about working with speakers, authors, coaches is they have a desire to share a message and change the
then
world. So it's got a bigger impact
Bigger
than if
scope of impact.
you know,
Yeah.
because they're going to go do stuff with it. So
Very good.
you know.
All right, good. So that's what it looks like. And what I would suggest is that you get this, you can get it online if you go to the website. We've got smaller paper versions of it. If you come to our workshop, you can get this one and go through the process with us. And the idea is to take your existing business model, because I promise you, you don't understand your existing business model as well as you think you do. And look at the gaps, and then go and design what are you thinking of doing next, so that you can take what worked from here and translate it over and play around with it, because you might come back over to this next week and go, you know what, I missed something here and I missed something here, and it allows you to be able to do that. So I've got it pinned up to the wall, you know, so I'm always looking at it. All right, so having said that, there's a couple of key questions. You might have to ask yourself, like, given this, what do I need to go learn? You know, I'm looking at my existing business model, and one of the things I know that I need to go learn is another language.
Wow.
Right? You might need to go and learn more about online marketing, or you might say, I'm not going to learn that, I'm going to outsource that, which would be a key partner. And so you start looking at, what do I need to learn more about? Do I have enough diversity in my conversation? So if you have a small company, you need to go out and talk to people, because we design these things in monologues in our head, but we never check them out, which is why I really want to do it here with you guys, so she could get immediate feedback. Right? So you need to make sure you've got a lot of diversity in the thinking. And then what criteria will you use for choosing that? And so part of what I would suggest that you use as criteria are, what are the market trends? You might look at your strengths and weaknesses, which are internal, the opportunities and threats, which are external, and then the emerging trends. If you go to Miami Growth Advisors, you can see a lot about the emerging trends. And when I was looking at the One Community, One Goal study that was done by the Greater Miami Chamber and the Beacon Council, they had targeted industries that they're going after to develop in South Florida. One of them is aviation. So I don't know if you guys know this or you saw this, but recently Boeing opened the second largest training facility in the world in Miami.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, they drove that. But the other one that they're driving is shows, trade shows, conventions, and events. Isn't that interesting?
Wait, can I put that down?
If you go, yes. If you go to One Community, One Goal would be a very good resource for you, and read the report. So if you go the word One Community, the word onegoal.com, you can find this report. And I would go start with report number 2, because it's a brief, it's an executive summary, as opposed to reading a 120-page document that they have out there. And if you go to Miami Growth Advisors, they've got a gazillion resources, right? So if you go to those sites, that can help you a lot with that. But anyway, congratulations on your new business model.
Thank you. That was cool. Thank you.
All right, and thank you guys. Make sure you stop by and say hello to me. I'd love to talk with you. And go get your business humming so that you are shown the money. Thank you, and have a great day.